All right, what's up, everybody? It's Keefy, and you're watching another edition of Ghost Cult Mag's Weekly Ritual, our rock and metal news live stream show. Everywhere on the web, just about, except a few places. Stoked to be back here. Scooter is here right off the bat on Instagram. So happy to see you, pal. It's almost the weekend, and we're doing our customary show, so thanks for being here. Since 2012, Ghost Cult has been an everyday 24/7, 365 rock and metal news resource for interviews, reviews, festival reviews, concert reviews all over the world. And that's what we do here, and a few other things, but mostly that's what we do. So if you're here to get it. You're here to get it all in for the week. It's been a crazy time in the world, and it's been a crazy week in music. So we're going to talk all about it in a second. I'm going to bust open my Liquid Death Mountain Spring Water. This is a sparkling water, technically buried alive, going in for the win. I'm good, Scooter. I'm good. I hope you're good. It's tough out there. A lot of people are having a hard time. Brooklyn Miss is here. It's all my favorites right off the bat. I'm spoiled. I'm spoiled to see my friends, let me tell you. Friends on the internet, but also friends in real life. I'd like to think I'm there for you and you're there for me. Doing what we do. So let's quickly bring in the deck. Nope, that's the wrong direction. Already off the rails. That's better. It is Friday the 13th. Technically not an unlucky day. Actually, that's a big misnomer. That Friday the 13th is somehow tied to bad luck. It's actually meant to be good luck. A lot of people are jumping in on TikTok. Good to see you all. Thanks for joining our rock and metal news show. Thanks for being here. Friday the 13th technically, has been historically a bad luck day. It's actually a very complicated and convoluted thing. It was never meant to be bad luck. But Friday the 13th has other meanings. It's spooky season. So we have our awesome Michael Myers instead of me. It's thankfully we have music to retreat to, because otherwise I don't know what the fuck I would do without it. It's really dark out there, and I have a lot of friends struggling, and I haven't been doing too great. I'm okay. So if you're not okay, let us know, and let us know if we can help. As we try to be a booster for everybody, and that's what we do here. But yeah, we're here with the show. Let's get on with it. Let's dispense with the pleasantries. Yep, Friday the 13th edition, and spooky season is here. Let me know. Corpse Paint Records is here. Hey, what's up? Long time no talk. Let us know what your favorite scary movie is as we get into spooky season hardcore now. All the memes and things that are keeping us alive. Just saying hi to some folks on the Tick of the Talk. Again, thanks for popping by, even if it's for a second. If you like what we do, stick around. So time for the announcements, and this one just hurts. It hurts so much with the world already in chaos and tatters. We lost the great one, James Earl Jones. I think a whole generation of people only know him for The Lion King, from Mufasa, but obviously James Earl Jones has been a legendary actor of stage and screen for decades upon decades. Obviously Darth Vader, the voice of Darth Vader, across all media in Star Wars. Star Wars would not be the same with any other actor. Thulsa Doom and Conan, just so many cool movies, so many great appearances, so many great things that he gave to the world. And he was generally a strong and positive leader as well. Thanks, pal. Appreciate you. Yep. Oh, thanks, Corpse Paint Records. Appreciate you. So yeah, James Earl Jones, and I wanted to share this thing my homie Mike sent me, which was the Empire State Building being lit up for James Earl Jones. I think that's pretty neat. And lit up and shared for Darth Vader. So I thought that was pretty nice. But he's so much more than just Darth Vader, and that's what counts. That's what counts. But a lot of people have been reaching out to me today. People are just heartbroken about a lot of stuff going on in the world, and luckily we have our music. Also this week we lost a couple of other greats just in the world of pop culture and music. Herbie Flowers, probably not a name in terms of iconic bassists, but he actually had played countless iconic bass lines, including the infamous Walk on the Wild Side by Lou Reed, which technically has two bass lines running at the same time. Herbie also played with David Bowie. I played on apparently 500 records, so he's one of the most prolific artists of all time in classic rock. He passed away this week. Night of the Living Dead, Chun, and Carnival of Souls. Nice. You know that I usually have my Night of the Living Dead and Dawn of the Dead shirts on. Also love Chud and Carnival of Souls, Brooklyn Miss. Also this week, Frankie Beverly. I didn't have a good photo with permission, so I shared this note from his family. Frankie Beverly, probably one of the greatest soul and R&B singers of all time. I know not typically those cult material, but I just feel like these are people that have stayed with me and stayed with the pop culture for a long time. Frankie died after a long illness. His iconic voice and sort of synonymous with the Philadelphia soul sound. So do your homework. Go get on your streaming service later and look up some Frankie Beverly. You do yourself a favor. You'll thank me. You will thank me. I promise you. Yeah, absolutely great picks for Brooklyn Miss there. I agree. Good taste in music and movies. It's important. It's important to not support people who don't like high quality stuff. Anywho, we don't want to gatekeep. Once again, we are supporting our friend Sonia Ramos, Sonia Shredder on Instagram. She is battling late stage cancer, and we're just trying to raise money as much as we can to help with her care and her comfort at this dire time for Sonia. We've been supporting this since the spring, I think. And, of course, people are going to try to ring my phone when I'm going live. So, yeah, anywho, that's another tough one, but we're trying to help. We're trying to help whenever we can. Also, we're still trying to, on a good note, on a positive, uplifting thing, we're trying to raise awareness for our friend Django, the very metal-loving dog in San Francisco, trying to get Django sainthood from the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. Here's a picture of Django and Necro Butcher, who was on his way to kill Euronymous too, apparently. Not before this photo, though. He does love dogs, even though he seems like he wants to be mean, but he's really sweet. Nice. House on Haunted Hill, Trick and Treat. Oh, Trick and Treat is great. 28 Days Later. Nice. I mean, I have so many favorite horror movies and scary movies. I'm partial to serial killers. I love all the Silence of the Lambs movies and books. I'm a huge fan of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Probably stayed with me the hardest. And as I talked about in my recent interview with Courtney Gaines, Children of the Corn on VHS devastated me so bad. So bad. Just still stayed with me to this day. And I told Courtney that, and he was he was like, yeah, people, Witchfinder General, listen to, oh, dude, I'm a big fan of Antichrist, Demon Core. I'm a fan. Or unless you mean Anal Cunt, which is also a thing. I used to see Seth Putnam and the Anal Cunt guys around when I lived in Boston. But, okay. I think you mean Anal Cunt, but okay. All good. Yeah, big fan of those movies. Midnight Meat Train's good. Yeah, and I love all the, I grew up as a little kid watching PBS, so I'm a huge fan of all the Universal monster movies. They're not gory, obviously, and they're not, they're not as terrifying, but they were truly suspenseful and really beautifully made, considering it was the early 30s and 40s and the dawn of real modern cinema as we know it. And so, yeah, I love those movies too. Big fan of The Wolfman, Invisible Man, Dracula, Frankenstein, Creature of the Black Lagoon. Nuclear Savior is here. What up? What up? Is that your new handle, Nuclear Savior? Oh my God, that's great. Bring on the bomb, folks. All right, moving that along. So we're trying to help raise awareness for our friend Django. Be sure to donate. That's free. If you don't have, a lot of people struggling with money right now. Oh, all the Japanese art is great. Once again, just a reminder, we're on all the social media things. We do a newsletter every week. We're slowly going over to Substack. Feel free to subscribe there. We still have our MailChimp. We're slowly getting rid of it, probably by the end of October. And yep, pretty interesting. Fun. But anyway, I'm here. I'm still here. All right. Yeah, I grew up on that stuff, Scooter. I love that stuff. So we're on Substack. We're on all the things. Check out our newsletter every week. And again, if you're tired of social media like I'm starting to get and everybody else is starting to get sick of, feel free to join us on Discord or Reddit, where we have all our things also. All right, time for some features. Let's move it along and step it up. Slayer is on the precipice of their comeback next weekend, not this weekend, but next weekend at Riot Fest in Chicago. Slayer will play their first of their 3 shows, their first shows in 5 years. And I united the Knights of the Metal Roundtable, the Metal Illuminati, friends of mine, and also peers and colleagues, to join in and talk about why Slayer is actually coming back and what it means and what does it mean for Kerry's solo band and his success, and kind of what is the forecast of how these shows are going to go, and maybe even what they mean for 2025. So you can watch that on YouTube when you're done watching this live stream, and let us know what you think. We're going to do more and more live streams. We're going to do more and more roundtables. We're going to do more and more reviews on our streaming platforms. In addition to all your stuff, you can find at ghostcultman.com. Also, just a reminder, we recently did a sort of a pour one out for St. Vitus Bar. I'm still not over it. Hurts a lot. I lived in Brooklyn for a while, and I was at St. Vitus Bar. All right. Hey, Dillinger Compound is here. No, I'm all set, Dillinger Compound. I'm just good with that, but thanks, pal. Just a reminder, we also do some feature work. We recently did a retrospective on Lamb of God's Ashes of the Wake by our own Hans Lopez. Great job there by him. And yeah, killer stuff. We do all kinds of stuff. George Romero. Oh, yeah, I'll do all the zombie stuff, man. So good. So good. And also the Italian horror, Argento and stuff like that. Bava. I'm into all that. I like all that stuff. Another interview we had this week, or we'll say starting with the interviews we had this week, is Castle. Our own Morgan Evans interviewed Castle. Pretty great job interviewing Castle. Their new album is out now, Evil Remains, which also has like an Italian horror theme to their artwork, like psychedelic horror stuff. Yep, Giallo. I'm into it. So yeah, we, in addition to stuff here on the channel, on YouTube, we also do podcasts. We've got a bunch of podcast content coming this weekend that I'm super excited about. You can check it out. A lot of people don't have time to watch this stuff, but they listen to podcasts when they drive, do chores, masturbate, whatever they do. Maybe you do too. Also, because I don't have enough things to do, I am the co-host of the Glacially Musical Podcast, Beer Metal, Swearing, Vinyl, runs of music reviews and vinyl unboxings and stuff. And this week we did a chaser episode before we start our new series, starting next week on Mastodon. We reviewed the brand new David Gilmour album, Luck and Strange. It's a bit sad and depressing, but David sounds great. And in addition to this episode of the Glacially Musical Podcast, we're trying to get that podcast more subs. So we're trying to get to luckily, our channels, have been around for 12 years, and we have and I'm happy about it. If you're new to us, give us a sub if you like us. But we are trying to get more subs for the Glacial Musical Podcast, especially on YouTube, but also on wherever you listen to podcasts. So we're running a vinyl giveaway contest launching tomorrow, a giveaway where everybody that's already subbed and anyone that subs from now until probably October 1st can win one of 2 vinyl bundles. My co-host Nick Cameron is giving away vinyl from his collection, some metal, some rock. He's going to mix it up. It's going to be pretty fun. He's going to throw in some extras for everybody, and I'm pretty stoked about it. So pretty neat. Thanks so much. I try. We usually hit streaming on Thursday. The video goes up at midnight on Friday. So in a few hours from now, your time, wherever you are in the USA, it'll go live. And yeah, we appreciate everybody. Nick and I, he was also part of the Slayer Roundtable. Nick and I give each other a lot of shit, but there's a lot of love there. We actually spent time together in person. Last year, I went out to St. Louis to see Metallica with him, and we went record shopping and talked about vinyl and listened to stuff together, and hung out with his family and friends. It was really great. St. Louis is a lot of fun. As you know, Scooter, Midwestern charm is real. It's actually real. So that's coming up. And we did a few premieres this week, and I think this is pretty cool. We helped premiere Local H's new single and visualizer. Tomorrow, they are releasing a brand new version of their classic album, Whatever Happened to PJ Souls, on Brutal Panda Records. The great Brutal Panda Records, been around a long time. Finally getting a vinyl release, a bunch of different formats and colors and things. And so Local H put out a track today with Ghost Cult, which is pretty neat. We're still angling for an interview with those guys. They've been at it a long time. Where did we go? We went to Planet Score Records, Vintage Vinyl, and the Record Exchange. But I understand that there are a bunch of other places. Yeah, Vitriol, we were talking about this briefly last week. I'll talk about those things. I love Vintage Vinyl. That was probably my favorite, but I like them all for different reasons. And I spent quite a bunch of money on the local St. Louis record shopping economy. Kurt is here, my best friend in the world. Love you, buddy. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. Vitriol, man, I'm bummed. They are a great band. I've interviewed them in the past. I think we're getting inklings that there was some trouble in paradise with them, and that, it's tough for people to go home in the middle of a tour. But we've been saying right now, it's really hard for these bands to sustain long success, even a young band. It's surprising. It's very surprising. Yeah, I came home. I actually have a Planet Score Records sticker around here somewhere. I just had it. It's covered on my desk here somewhere. But yeah, great place. And I do love Vintage Vinyl and Record Exchange also. Record Exchange is like a crazy museum. I guess it used to be a library, and now it's a record store, and it's bananas. It's so bizarre and great. Also, today we just ran a guest post, a track by track from the progressive metal band Black Sites from Chicago. They featured, recently added to their lineup, the drummer of Repentance, who we also just covered on the Orbit Culture tour that we ran our review of this week. And the leader of Black Sites is Mark Sugar, and he did a track by track explanation of each song and the songwriting and what the meanings are. Really killer progressive metal from Chicago. Great band. I think we have another one coming tomorrow I can't talk about yet, but we also ran the new single from Chain Code. It was an excellent, cool band. Very, very cool band. You should also check out. All right. Kyle was on the Garza. He said he was largely responsible for the amicable split. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I love Garza. That's cool. It's just tough to leave in the middle of a tour is not the best. Yeah, 15,045s. That's correct. That is accurate. And also, I love all the old memorabilia. I literally had like a criminal thought cross my mind. They have like a Kiss standee from like 1978. And I was like, I can't buy this thing, but I wonder, I can't fit it under my coat. So I don't know what I'm under my hoodie. It's not going to fit. So, but it's a wonderful place, man. It's a wonderful place. Just a reminder, we have some affiliate partners that we're very proud of. We are a proud member of the Lambgoat Media Network, brought to you by the folks over at Lambgoat. similar to what we do, Lambgoat. Any advertising you see at ghostcultmag.com is from Lambgoat. When we gave away tickets to see Slayer at Riot Fest or New England Metal and Hardcore Fest, that was with Lambgoat. We have more stuff coming up with them soon. And members of the Lambgoat Media Network include Lambgoat themselves, ghostcultmag.com, Metal Insider, This Day in Metal, New Metal Agenda, and now Anthony Fantano of the Needle Drop, which is huge. Really huge for us. So pretty great. More stuff coming soon. Also, if you're enjoying this, everywhere but TikTok, unfortunately, is getting to see our awesome view on Streamyard. Streamyard is your one-stop source for awesome streaming technology. This platform, the ability to have a little slide deck, the ticker at the bottom that says our website. I'm able to loop in almost all the comments all over the web. I can see how many people are watching in most cases. It's really great. It's pretty inexpensive. Their prices are going up, but still very reasonable for the amount of stuff you get. It's been pretty locked in for the same price for a year and a half that we've been using it. So I'm pretty pumped. So we got quite a few viewers on YouTube. Pop in and say hi. We'll answer your questions. My birthday is next week. I've been thinking about doing maybe a little 1 hour birthday live stream. I think I'm going to be heading out to Dark Tranquility and Amorphous that day, but maybe I can jump on for like an hour and just shoot the shit and celebrate with everybody. That's an idea. Gen Alpha is just figuring out that depression is terrible. Again, I just want to say a lot of people I know are just having a hard time with everything going on in America, everything going on in the world. I swear depression gives you brain damage. It's actually legitimately true. There's some science behind this, that depression causes memory loss. Unfortunately, it's not the memories that you would like to forget. It's the other memories you need to keep. But I swear depression gives you brain damage, no cap. Like, I feel like I've lost so much brain capacity after the really, really bad depressive episodes I've had in the past years. My memory is so bad now. I can't recall shit. I feel so dumb all the time. I'm sad if anybody feels that way. Sometimes I feel that way. Normally, my main problem in life is anxiety and not just depression. But thanks, Brooklyn Miss. I might do maybe like 5 o'clock Pacific, 8 o'clock Eastern on Tuesday. Maybe I'll do a little promotion of that first and send it around. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. So anyway, if you're struggling out there, please know that we're here for you. Our DMs are open. Reach out. Don't. Dillinger Compound is asking about the new Uniform album and why no one's talking about it. Well, where we talked about it on the Ghost Cult Magazine podcast that's coming out tomorrow. The Power Hour, the monthly recap of the releases that came out in August and the preview. I know we're already into September, but that's unfortunately how the schedule is going. I connected with our man in Europe, our managing editor, Tom Osman. And Tom and I talked about Uniform as one of his favorite releases of the whole year, actually. So we gave it a pretty high mark. So it's we're pretty jazzed on it. They're always a great band. Uniform is also a super scary band. I once photographed them opening for the Black Queen, which is Greg Puciato's synthwave band that I absolutely die for. I live and die for. And their front person for Uniform just like whips the mic stand around and will like drag it across the ground. And he almost took out like the whole row of concert photographers in the pit. I think this was at the Warsaw in Brooklyn, which recently reopened, and he literally took me out. I was like trying to get a shot of him, and I just felt the wind of the mic stand, and you heard the like scrape of it across the stage, and I was like, this is terrifying, and probably one of the reasons I don't shoot bands anymore with cameras. But yeah. All right. Thanks to everybody who's here on the Tick of the Talk. Much appreciated. Thank you. Folks have been sending in some presents and surprises here. Thank you. Appreciate you. All right. That's all the intro stuff. And now it's time for the breakdown, the news rundown. It's Metal Festival time. And this weekend, taking place right now in New York City, is the Desertfest NYC kickoff show, and our man is there, Dante Torrieri of Useless Rebel Imaging. Look out for his review and photos. Tonight is the special showcase from TP Records. Desertfest has an incredible lineup this weekend. We've covered it many times. We've covered all the Desertfests all over the world: London, Berlin, Antwerp, and New York a few times. I did the very first one myself with Dante. High on Fire, Amun Ra, Beelzebub, Primitive Man, Blackwater, Holy Light, Doomcraft, Death Chant, Spirit Mother, Abrams, and Guts tomorrow. Our homies and Guts who we interviewed recently. Uniform is so loud. It's brutal. Saturday's lineup for Desertfest includes Russian Circles, Acid King, the great Acid King, Green Lung, Eagle Twins, Space Lug, Truck Fighters, another past interviewee, Dozer, Hippie Death Cult, Gozu, and Cadabra. I just saw Hippie Death Cult a while back, right down the block from my house. And then also Tower and High Desert Queen has a new record. Like such a good Infinity Ring, such a good lineup for Desertfest. It's just absolutely spectacular. Also coming up next weekend is Zakk Wylde and Cody Jinks at the Beserkus Festival, Rival Sons, Clutch, many other bands. That's going to be just so killer and good for Zakk. Everybody's got a festival now. You get a festival, you get a festival, you get a festival, you get a festival. Everybody's getting a festival. Riot Fest, as you know, is coming up next weekend. We will be there. I was just conversing with our photographer extraordinaire, Randall Hicks. Also, Justice Peterson, relatively newcomer to Ghost Cult's going to be reviewing that with Randall. And the Comeback of Slayer, like the Comeback of Slayer, as well as, Fall Out Boy and Beck, Suicidal Tendencies, No Effects, all 3 days with their own punk stage. If you just love pop punk, you could just go see No Effects for 3 straight days on their farewell tour. I don't know if I'm getting to another No Effect show this year, so I might be done seeing them for a while or forever. Suicidal, Lamb of God, Mastodon, Rob Zombie, so many cool bands. It was incredible to go to Riot Fest last year, and I'm proud that we're covering it again. Much appreciated. Now they have their late night shows. This just got recently announced, and let's just quickly run through these late night shows. Sum 41 also on their farewell tour with Drug Church and Many Eyes. That's probably the best one of all of these. St. Vincent headline show, Newfound Glory, and Sincere Engineer, who I absolutely adore. The Chisel and the Crosses, not to be confused with Crosses. Electric Fields, Spoon, Lemonheads. Lemonheads always mixed results with Lemonheads live. Spiritual Cramp, good band. Basement and Graham Hunt, Buzzcocks and Love Crimes. Something Corporate, Hot Mulligan, Emo Night Brooklyn, State Champs, good band. Dr. Oliver Tree DJ set. Cursive, Laura Jane Grace and Catbite doing another IB set probably, or just a solo set. Maybe that's where they do the solo set. Gel, MS Paint, and Destiny Bond. Holy shit. People are going to be laid out at that show. They're going to get punched to death at that show. Manchester Orchestra and Military Gun. That's a fun mix of 2 different, drastically different bands, but kind of fun. And Cobra Skulls and more. So that's the late night Riot Fest lineup, as well as the rest of proper Riot Fest. Also next weekend, New England Metal and Hardcore Fest, God forbid, in one of their rare comeback shows on the pre-show, along with Rivers of Nihil, Johnny Booth, and more. Metal and Hardcore Fest proper features the 25th anniversary show from Killswitch Engage, as well as Machine Head, Suicidal, Slaughter to Prevail, and Better Lovers, and a whole bunch more. We'll be there as well. Both our homies, Evil Rob and Chris Smalls and Rob there. So law firm of Evil Rob and Chris Smalls are going to be covering that for us. That's kind of fun. Maybe we need a third name for the festival. All right. Also the same weekend, next weekend, Metal Injection Festival in New York City. We are confirmed to be covering that as well with Ginger and Converge. Again, God forbid, 3 Inches of Blood and more. Very exciting stuff. Also, same weekend, we are confirmed to be covering Knotfest, Iowa. We mentioned last week they dropped their running order. I love how Knotfest does this. No clashes, just the right amount of bands, Every band gets a proper set. Nobody's impinging. One band ends, another band goes on the next stage. That's it. Just no doors at 11, first band at 11:30, bing bang boom. Perfect. And I'm very excited to see if Poison the Well will play a new song at Knotfest. We're going to find out. Better Lovers will be as big as I believe so. I believe so, Dillinger. I think that it'd be very interesting. I don't know if I know enough people to do, I want to do more of these roundtables. Like I said at the top of the show before you joined, we did this big roundtable that you can see on YouTube about Slayer. We also have a website post about it where I brought together some of the, what I consider to be some of the best brains out there in the music commentary, and as well as a band member, an actual working musician who appreciates and knows what's going on with them. And so I'd love to do like a Better Lovers versus Many Eyes once both albums are out. Many Eyes out this week, I think, or last week. And then Better Lovers coming soon. Chris Hornbrook, what's up, Chris? Good to see you pass by. Speaking of, I think I just Beetlejuiced Chris Hornbrook into TikTok. Like I said, Poison the Well playing at Knotfest, maybe they'll play a new song, and then Chris Hornbrook comes across my TikTok. Like Chris Hornbrook just passed by. One of our favorites. But yeah, I do believe Better Lovers will be huge. I'm telling you, huge. Actually, it was funny. I read a music industry newsletter where some fuddy-duddy guy was complaining about who is knocked loose and if they're good or not. And I was like, they're not for you. Not every band is for me. Some bands are not for me, and some bands are. You don't have to have an opinion on everything. You can just say, hey, this is not resonating with me, but probably I'm the wrong audience. You don't have to just have an opinion on everything. You don't. I don't. I have an opinion on a lot of things, but not everything. Doesn't make sense. Louder Than Life, we just got confirmed for this also. Our own Rage and Rosie will be down at Louder Than Life. Another opportunity to catch the Slayer reunion. This lineup is Banana Balls. As always, the Danny Wimmer festivals are fantastic. Slipknot, Offspring, Seether, Five Finger Death Punch, Hailstorm, Starset, Sum 41, Drugs, Veil of Maya on day 1. Day 2, Slayer, Lindemann, Anthrax in a rare festival appearance. Sevendust, Evanescence, In This Moment, Clutch, Fozzy, Tom Morello solo. I wonder if his son will be with him. Grandson, always great live. Not always sure I love the Grandson records as much as I really appreciate them live. Horror, and a bunch of others. Day 3, Motely Crue. Falling in Reverse, No Thanks. Dropkick Murphys, Disturbed, Chevelle, Skillet, Mastodon, Body Count. El Nino. Body Count should be much higher up on that bill. And then the final day of Louder Than Life has Korn, Breaking Benjamin, Gojira, Spirit Box. I think Spirit Box is doing a special set. Judas Priest, Stained, Architects, Ginger, Polaris, Biohazard, The Homies, Sponge, and Red, among others. That is quite a lineup. Yeah, they play. Where do they play at? That was 300 people, Scooter, Better Lovers. Is that Red Zone? I'm trying to get my handle on St. Louis venues. I believe Glacially Musical Podcast's Nick Cameron will be at Gore next week in St. Louis for Ghost Cult. I'm not sure if you're a Gore fan, Scooter. Not everybody is. Some of their I love Gore. Some of their stuff doesn't hold up as well, but okay. What else? Aftershock Sacramento is coming up soon. Again, Slayer, Slipknot, Iron Maiden, Motely Crue. Motely Crue. Pantera, Five Finger Death Punch, Judas Priest, Disturbed, Grandson, Mastodon, Lorna Shore, Flogging Molly, Static X, and many more. So that looks really great. That looks great. Off Broadway. Oh, nice. Yeah, I've heard of that place. This is pretty cool. This weekend in Indianapolis, Heavy Hell 5 Festival is taking place, headlined by Coven. And I mean, this is kind of bananas. Coven, Internal Bleeding, Shrenic Place, Pungent Stench, Ghost, the synthwave artist who we've interviewed, Acid Witch, Earthburner, the new death metal supergroup, Knoll, so you got some black metal, Fabio Frizzi, Obituary, I think Fabio Frizzi is playing sort of a sideshow, as well as Obituary on the kind of post-festival after show. Oh, madness. Madness, I tell you. These things are madness. Just again, Coven will be playing a special set of their 50th anniversary of their Witchcraft, their debut album, Witchcraft Steals Souls. Big fan of that. You can check out many of you might be here from our interview with Coven, or maybe our interviews with Hylung, or Fat Mike of NoFX, or 1349, or, Greta Van Fleet before they were famous. We've interviewed so many people. So you might be here from that. This looks really cool. This is taking place in London at the Gibson Garage. This is a sort of all-women tribute to the one and only Mary Ford. People might remember Mary Ford was a guitar great in her own right. And it's mostly a bunch of country folk Americana artists celebrating her. And I believe there'll be some video coverage of this after. This is taking place Friday on the 20th, kind of the Americana Fest, sponsored by Gibson at Gibson's new Gibson Garage. So very cool, very cool. All right. Also, Heavy Chicago just added Pelican. We are looking to cover this as well. Bong Ripper, Pelican, Wraith, Avernus, Earth Crisis, Just a Solo, Earthburner again, The Crosses, Cynic, Toxic Holocaust, Profanatica, The Skull, by Heavy. So this is a pretty good one. November 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. All right. Delmar Hall. Nice. Yeah, I heard that the King Diamond tour is a bit out of town. I think Nick was saying he wasn't going to go, or Merciful Fate, he wasn't too thrilled about going because it's too far to drive there and back on a school night, basically a weeknight. But anyway, that is all the festivals that we know about. And then here's the big rumor of the week. I thought I would put it in here because I don't think it's coming back as a tour. So the rumor of the week is the YouTuber Rocked, or Rock Feed. I think it's Rock Feed did a sort of a rumor mill thing where he said Warped Tour is coming back in 2025, which we've been hearing for a while. And so I've said before, maybe I will do a retrospective on Warped Tour as well. If it comes back, it can't come back like it was, because these bands that really Warped Tour was built on don't play for peanuts anymore. All these bands became huge in their own right for the most part. So you might be able to pay one good headliner to do a Warped Tour, but then all the other bands would have to be relatively young and new up-and-coming bands, with a few mid-level bands that are still hanging around from the 90s and the aughts, because it would cost too much money to put this tour out. Warped Tour was cheap, and we were just lucky that it had so much diverse talent, especially the first few Warped Tours where Eminem was on Warped Tour and he got batteries thrown to him, and bands that weren't necessarily punk were on. Definitely Avenged Sevenfold, definitely Whitechapel, definitely some metal bands were on Warped Tour, and then it became mostly all metalcore and pop punk and emo. And and Warped Tour has its own very dark side that we know about already, with a lot of grooming and stuff like that. That's not great, but it was part of that culture. Unfortunately, it became part of that culture, which sucks. But would you like to see Warped Tour come back? Could it come back? I think Warped Tour will only come back as a couple of, maybe a festival in one location, or a few, like they did for the 25th anniversary. So now it'll be the 30th anniversary, and they're going to do maybe a handful of shows or a couple of locations. And there was some Reddit talk about, Knock Loose could be a Warped Tour headliner for sure. I think there was some talk about Warped Tour would come back because When We Were Young is not doing well. When We Were Young is completely sold out 2 years in a row. And they're so big that they could do the same festival 2 days in a row with no break. So they're not having problems. If anything, the problem is they probably need to split it up over a few days and not make it so chaotic for people. But Vegas is tough. I did the festival out in Vegas, Sick New World, and it was exhausting to say the least in the heat. But maybe Warped Tour's coming back. We'll find out soon. And then, of course, like Mayhem Fest, if you hype it up too much, Mayhem Fest used kind of all the old bands to promote the new Mayhem Fest, which has none of the classic kind of bands. And people were really angry at them. So you can't win. You can't win. It's going to be like Mayhem Fest. They're not going to be able to have these you're not going to have Green Day and Sum 41 and Offspring and Lagwagon and Pennywise, and just not going to happen. They can't afford that caliber of bands. I can't see it happening, or the ticket will be astronomical, which people are going to push back on. They want it to be cheap. So if you want it can be cheap with a lot of new talent and maybe one old school headliner, or you can have it be really expensive and have the festival of your dreams. Which one do you want? Let us know. Drop a comment. Hello, Alex. How are you doing? Thanks for dropping by. Appreciate you. Alex is on TikTok. Deftones and Pennywise on a Warped Tour. Yep. Yeah, I went to a few Warped Tours. There was a few bands I wanted to see that were pretty great. Quicksand was on a Warped Tour once. August Burns Red on a Warped Tour. I saw Black Veil Brides get booed on a Warped Tour, but they were good. But the fans weren't into them because they went on, like, just the fans had just seen I forgot what punk band, and then they were like, nope. But they were good. It's not their fault. All right, so that's all the festivals. Now it's time for the concerts. Let's blast through this. Talked last week about the Oasis Ticket debacle. So this week, in a way to kind of make it up to, all right, thanks, Alex. Good to see you. Thanks for the present. In a way to kind of make it up to fans, anybody that had been queuing, as they say in the UK, and trying to make a purchase that didn't get to purchase anything, they gave them another show and another opportunity to get tickets at the original price. And some people got an email with a link and a special dispensation to get tickets, and some people didn't. So it's still very murky and difficult. And, again, this dynamic pricing thing is horrible. Oh, yeah, we're going to talk about that in a second, Scooter. I'm super pumped. Quicksand and Refused. I love Quicksand. So this whole thing with Quicksand is a disaster. We really need to have the end of Ticketmaster and Live Nation. Just a reminder, we used to take money from Live Nation for ads. We were a small business, too, and we were trying to survive, and I didn't think it was morally murky, but it's been getting worse and worse and worse. So I'm not saying that I wouldn't work with them in the future, but eyes wide open. And I don't like merch cuts, even though they've lowered that down. I don't like, if you're trying to ask a question, Alex, just ask it. I'm confused by your question marks. Karen Scott, what up, what up? The great Karen Scott. That's what we'll start calling you. Just a reminder, we were talking about David Gilmour at the beginning of the show for our other podcast, and David Gilmour's already kicked off his headline tour, his brief headline tour, world tour, a bunch of shows in London, followed by a few shows in America. These tickets are astronomical. I would really love to go, but I don't know. I'm pretty good. No, you're good, man. Jump the gun all you want. Alex wants to know, how old am I? How old are you, Alex? It's a strange question. Anyway. Slipknot tour continues. DJ, all right, cool. Slipknot continues their new headline tour with Knocked Loose and Vended on this leg. Vended's new album is out now, or about to be out this week, I think. Knocked Loose blowing up. And like I said, Slipknot just raging through their Here Comes the Pain 25th anniversary tour. I do expect more dates to be announced soon. Probably at the conclusion of this tour, they have Knotfest Iowa, they have Knotfest South America, and a bunch of other places. Nate Jones is here. Amendez 13 is here. Ray is here. Silverstein has announced a 25th anniversary tour of the UK. I expect this to be a world tour and a new record from them. 25 years of noise, UK and Europe, with support from Thursday, the Callous Dow Boys, and Bloom. I'm not sure if people are going to be ready for Callous Cowboys before Thursday and Silverstein, but that sounds like a fun combination. I am an old man. Alex, I don't know. What would I do? What do you want? Very, very grabby, Alex. Just be chill. I don't ask for much. I appreciate everybody here, but I don't do a quid pro quo, Clarice. You do something and I do something. No, I'm not like that. We're just happy to have some fans. If you want to subscribe, if you want to follow us, we appreciate it. We do follow back. Most people who follow us. I am very old, but I saw all the cool bands, so that's what's awesome. I guess it's a kid. Dream Theater has announced their 40th anniversary tour. Nerds Unite. Mike Portnoy in the flesh, playing stuff from across their career. Philadelphia kickoff in Philly, almost a hometown show because Portnoy lives in Pennsylvania. Going all the way through the Southeast, the West Coast. Not coming to my town here. They're coming to Sacramento, but not San Francisco. Reno. Then the Midwest again, Canada. And then Wallingford, Connecticut. Boston, Rochester, West Virginia, Cincinnati, DC, and New York City at the end of March. So They Watch Us from the Moon is here. Kells is here. Van Fan is here. I don't know, man. Kids these days. Refuse. Here's that news, Scooter. So many tours, not enough time and money. And I think that's the problem right now, why tours are getting canceled. So Refuse was supposed to be on their farewell tour. Band is in their 50s. They've been doing it for 30 years. And Dennis Lyson, the great punk legend also of the supergroup Fake Names. I met Dennis. I've never interviewed him, but I met him. I've interviewed other members of his bands, current and former. Dennis had a heart attack in his hotel room before the first day of that farewell tour. So he's better now. And the band has announced their final tour of the world, including the US. And Quicksand will be on the tour. So I'm very excited about Refused and Quicksand for teaming up for a tour. I'm very sad about the end of Refused. Refused is one of the best bands I've ever seen. I'm sure this is not the end of Dennis's career. Again, he has Fake Names. He has other projects. He easily could do another solo record. Dennis is really a legend. And Refused was always a little bit bigger in Europe than the States. And Refused has kind of I think a cachet that extends beyond here. Pretty interesting. This tour kicks off tonight. This is crazy. If you are an old school progressive rock nerd, Beat, the 80s music of King Crimson, being performed by Adrian Belew, Steve Vai, Tony Levin, and Danny Carey. I am so wet right now. You have no idea. This tour is right up my alley. It is so good. And I'm so excited for this tour. They're actually playing here. I think they're playing in Napa near me, but it's not quite near enough for me to get to the show, and it's sold out. Most of the tour is already selling out, and then their tickets were so in demand in Northern California that they booked the second go round for some of the NorCal areas to come back at the end of the tour and do them again. So I think I may try to get down to San Jose in November for this, because this is I've interviewed Tony Levin, I've met Adrian Belew, I have would love to interview Danny Carey or meet him, obviously, or Steve Vai. So we've been very lucky to interview some of these greats. And again, if you're a big prog rock nerd, this would be right up for you. Oh, nice. With the Hives. That's pretty great. Where the Hives took the Refused out on tour. I don't remember that, but that sounds amazing, actually. Overkill. Overkill is in Europe right now. They're wrapping up their headline tour. I believe they got a few more dates. That's their first tour without Jason Bittner on the drums, with our homie Jeremy Kling, the Kling of all Klings, not the drummer of Slipknot, unfortunately, but the drummer in a bunch of death metal bands, the vocalist of Inhuman Condition, and now the drummer of Overkill. And I think Overkill, right before we went live, Overkill announced that Christian Geisler, for a creator, is going to have to step in and replace Dee Dee Verney, one of my heroes, temporarily on the bass because Dee Dee is continuing to have shoulder surgery from you say that 5 times fast. Shoulder surgery. Oh, Hive's open for Refuse. That's insane. I definitely would have thought it would have been the other way around. Barbecue is here. Barbecue, bring me some ribs. Mojo. What's up? Mojo's here. Good to see you all. Blue Collar Cuss is here. So yeah, Overkill having some health issues in the band, and obviously replaced a new drummer now with a new, with Kling. So best of luck to Dee Dee on a fast recovery. He's been struggling with the shoulder, and it's tough. You don't want to cancel these shows, but this tour, by the way, like for the thrash fans, this tour is crazy. It's Overkill, Angelus Apitrata, and One Machine, which is the resurrected band from Steve Smythe, formerly of Forbidden, and a bunch of other bands, Testament, stuff like that. So we're big fans. We're excited about One Machine. They got a great lead singer. So basically, Vienna last night, Geiselwind tonight. That's over already because it's Germany's way ahead of us time-wise. And then Lindau and Milan tomorrow, this weekend. So that's pretty fun. I think it's fun. Who else? What else? This is Clint Lowry of Sevendust. Sevendust kicked off their 20 years of the Seasons record tour, which is pretty awesome. And unfortunately, Clint Lowry is having some neck issues, so he's going to sit out the tour. They got a replacement or two to spell over different dates. And, Clint's a homie and a great dude and a core member of Sevendust, one of the few bands that has their, original members basically still intact. I know that there was a period of time when Clint was out of the band, but we're hoping to catch that tour. I believe Ghost Cult will be covering that tour in New York. Yeah, King Crimson Beat. I saw Blues Crimson Project about 15 years ago on the very first tour that Mangini played with, or second tour that Mangini played with Dream Theater, and Crimson Project opened, including with Adrian Belew led. It was all 80s King Crimson. My high school classmate Tobias Ralph on drums. If you're a big jazz and prog nerd, you know who that guy is. Guy's incredible. Sadly, not close friends. He didn't come to our reunion, our high school reunion. I was sad. But but get well soon, Clint Lowry. He's a homie. We love that guy. Also, Motely Crue, man. We talked about this last week. Motely Crue, someone stop them. Motely Crue is celebrating their 40 years as a band, or 40 plus years as a band. They're back on the Sunset Strip, and they're taking over Hollywood for 3 nights, October 7th, 9th, and 11th, because they need a day off in between each, because Vince can't do this shit. They're playing the Troubadour, the Roxy, and the Whiskey. That's really cool. But at the same time, somebody stop them. Please don't do any more music. Please stop. Please. I love some of the songs, but you can't keep supporting this if they're terrible. Clash of the Titans kicks off tonight in Reno. We've been waiting for this one. Clash of the Titans, Testament, Creator, and Possessed. Kicking off tonight in Reno and ending in San Francisco at the end of October. I will definitely be catching this tour. These are some of my favorite bands ever. Jeff Becerra popped into this show last week and was here talking about hanging out with Cliff Burton. Gave Cliff Burton his backstage pass to a show here in the Bay. Also W.A.S.P. A lot of stuff swirling about W.A.S.P. As we know, Death Angel dropped off the W.A.S.P. tour because Mark Asagata is busy with Kerry King. Armored Saint has replaced them, and now, I don't have the updated poster, Unto Others has been unceremoniously dropped from the tour by W.A.S.P. We don't know why. Unto Others' new album, Never Neverland, is coming out. Great band, great live. Saw them open for King Diamond. Saw them open headline. Saw them open with other people. Kicked off the tour, don't know why. Slaughter to Prevail. Yes. So Scooter is asking about Slaughter to Prevail. I have many thoughts. So a lot of people were, the band has gotten hugely popular. He's got a lot of collabs, including Falling in Reverse. I've gone on the record as not being a fan of. I do feel like, again, if you are called out for something, listen, like an apology doesn't excuse bad behavior. Alex had some questionable tattoos that very right wing. If you know anything about Ukraine politics, they're very nationalistic and a little on the conservative side in Western Europe, a lot more than we are even here. Even our conservative people, just people who align themselves with those values, are less conservative than Eastern Europe. So Alex had some very sketchy tattoos. He covered them up and apologized for them. He didn't even know what they were, he said. I think that's a weak answer, but okay. He covered them up and he said, I don't support any of them. He had been called out for, he's a very hyper masculine guy. He's like ripped and he works out and all this stuff. And people are, jizzing over his physique. And he made some comments that could be construed as, toxic, as well as very questionable homophobic comments. He absolutely came back on that and said, this is what I meant. I didn't mean that. I love all people. Everybody is welcome to be a Slaughter to Prevail fan. We're a band for the people. I thought that was a good answer. I think since then he's pretty much kept his nose clean. I know everybody in this current climate is guilty by association. If you associate with someone, you're guilty. Wait till we talk about Linkin Park in a few minutes. So, I think they're a good band. I think there's a little too much hype on them in general. Moved by them musically. I've heard people do brutal deathcore and slam for ages. This is not brand new. They're just a hot band right now. I heard people do symphonic black and death metal for ages, and then Lorna Shore blew up the last few years. They're great. I'm not taking anything away from them. They're phenomenal. But there's other bands that have been doing that style. Just that's the band of the moment that captured everybody. So Slaughter to Prevail, great. I think they're good. Do I think the guy's sketchy? I also interviewed Scott Lee, the founder of the New England Metal and Hardcore Fest, and he was like, I would not book anybody on this festival that was racist or homophobic at all. He's like, I talked to this guy. I know their managers. They're cool. I promise you we wouldn't put them on the festival if they weren't cool. So, you know what? That was good enough for me. I know Scott Lee for 20 years, and that was good enough for me that Scott vouched for him. So I'll take that. But I don't love what's some of the stuff that's happened there. All right, moving along. Primus has announced their traditional New Year's Eve shows, December 30th and 31st in Oakland, and I believe it's going to be Sailing the Sea of Cheese nautical-themed shows. They want people to dress up in costumes, show up as a sailor, show up as a mermaid, show up as a captain, show up as a yacht rocker. This should be a fun Halloween type of vibe. Now, Primus was supposed to go on a hiatus, and then they didn't. So I don't know if this is, again, their attempt to sort of put a pin in their existence and go on a hiatus like they planned, take a break and do other things. But I feel lucky that I got to see Primus at the Sesanta tour last summer. Also, Ceremony, who we just covered with Power Trip in Queens. Ceremony has announced 2 20th anniversary shows. And I'm particularly hyped about this 4 shows, and I'm hyped about it because 2 of them are in my backyard, literally. San Francisco on March 7th and 8th, 2025, and New York on March 21st and 22nd. Unlike Motely Crue, Ceremony can go back-to-back days because they don't suck completely. Anyhow, sorry, not sorry. I said what I said. Bret Michaels continues to confound and confuse everybody. He had said not too long ago, I'm taking off all of 2025. I need a break physically and mentally. I want to spend time with my family and not tour. After the last 3 or 4 years where he was on the road every year with his solo band and Poison opening the stadium tour with Motely Crue and Def Leppard. Then he said on stage a couple of weeks ago, we're getting a full Poison reunion in 2025. Yay. And the crowd went crazy. This went viral all over the internet. And then, then he walked it back and said, no, we're still not doing it. Then one of his band guys came out, the band leader, his musical director for his solo band, was like, he's definitely not going on tour next year. We're not. He's not going on tour with Poison. We're not going on tour. Then Bret finally made a statement that was like, okay, we are not going on tour in 2025, but 2026. is the 40th anniversary of the debut album of Poison, and that's when we're going to do the full Poison reunion headline tour. Okay, cool. But just like maybe got excited and said next year when the fans were into it, but like this is why you need publicists. Check out Disembodied Tyrant, newer symphonic deathcore. I'm into it. I still miss Winds of Plague. I don't know. Does anybody remember that band? I was a fan. I really missed that band. They were good. That's where our cruise now of Lamb of God. That's where our cruise came from originally. Before then he was in Prom, a bunch of other bands. Winds of Plague. Almost done here. Once again, I mentioned this briefly last week. The Kingsland, at least in its current location in Brooklyn, is officially closed. This is in the tour section, but also because a lot of tours come through there. First, we lost Sainthood. Now we lost the Kingsland. The Kingsland Presents is still a thing, so their name and their booking team is still out there putting shows on. The Kingsland Presents all over New York City, but specifically at the Meadows and the Brooklyn Monarch, both owned basically by the same people. There's a rumor that maybe the Kingsland will come back in a new location. I wonder what that guy is doing. Johnny, right? Johnny Plague. I don't know. I wonder what he's doing now. I don't think he ever had another band. But they were awesome for a hot minute. But yeah, Kingsland had not the best sound or lighting. Let's just be real. But it was a staple in the neighborhood. People used to drink there. Was their watering hole. And they had a lot of international and national bands. I saw some weird shows there, like CKY, Slaves, and Royal Thunder, and then some locals. I was like, what is this fucking lineup? But I love Royal Thunder, so I go to see them whenever they come. Slaves was terrible with Johnny Craig, and CKY was all right. Just all right. They had a good energy, but I don't think the songs were there. But I saw many other cool shows there. I mean, Church of Misery, Truck Fighters, Ross the Boss, so many good shows there. Enforcer from Sweden. Off to sleep, Scooter. Have a good night, pal. We'll see you soon. Thanks so much. Appreciate you being here. We're almost done. We're more than halfway done. We're almost done. So yeah, I love this photo. This is shot by our own Gary Alcock in the UK at Bloodstock Open Air. This is the ball of death that Hatebreed unleashed on the crowd. They put these big beach balls out like Metallica does. I think it's pretty great. What do you do if the ball of death is coming at you? Just bat it away. Just bat it away like a kitty. Good night, Scooter. Thanks for being here, pal. Appreciate the support. Always. All right. Now it's time for the big stories of the week, and some of these are just the break your brain. That broke mine. First and foremost, red alert, y'all. Mastodon and Lamb of God have been teasing a collaborative song or some kind of EP or something, and they basically put out a joint single. This is unreal. Two of the biggest bands. They just did a big co-headline tour. They both hit 20th anniversaries for their albums. We were like floating crazy theories, which is fine. Theory casting. I made an educated wish that this would happen, but they did a joint song, and it sounds exactly like Ashes of the Wake and or Leviathan 2003, 2004 Mastodon. God, there's group vocals, there's vocals from each singer, there's like a little bit of each style, a little bit of thrash, a little bit of sludge, a little bit of doom. Not very melodic, it's brutal. I love it so much, and the ending is killer. I should probably do like a live stream reaction. I haven't done reaction videos in a long time. I don't think they're great content, but maybe I'll do one just to kind of put it out there and see what it do. But yeah, you can, and they're doing a vinyl. So for those that know, my birthday is next week. They're doing a vinyl release of the single. So it's pretty fun. They recorded it in Mastodon Studio in Atlanta with Tyler Bates, the infamous Tyler Bates of everybody's producer and soundtracks and stuff like that. So pretty great. Oh my God, I didn't want to talk about this. Dave Grohl. Jesus fucking Christ, Dave Grohl. I really don't enjoy this stuff. I really don't. Dave Grohl, everybody double, triple down on all our peers, double and triple down on the content mania for these next few stories. And we didn't. But Dave Grohl confessed this week on his Instagram that he had cheated on his wife and had a baby out of wedlock. Make some Leviathans here. And Dave Grohl yeah, it's like he's like, I had a baby. I'm supporting the mother and the baby, obviously, and I hope my family can forgive me. I didn't put up the quote. This is a photo by our own Isabella's category. This is a great photo of Dave Grohl and Foo Fighters. And, like I know Foo Fighters, Dave is known as like one of the good guys in rock. He's so generous. And even though he's wealthy, he's so cool. And it reminded me of this, like the whole internet clapback on this guy. Memes and savagery, as you deserve. Cheaters, I'm not a fan of. I know people cheat. And I had this quote in my mind. I'm sorry, I'm clackety clacking, but I wanted to read this quote, right? They are savaged him so bad. There's this quote from the original Spider-Man 1 by Norman Osborn, where he confronts Peter Parker, and he basically says, people love a hero, but what they love more than a hero is they love to see a hero fall, fail, die trying. They love to tear him down, which is actually what then happens to Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker and Spider-Man. And so it reminded me of the same thing, like they were waiting for Dave to fuck up his whole life, and this was it. And, I'm not saying absolve him of the wrongdoing. I wonder, the price of divorce is going to be very high if he doesn't work it out with his wife. One of his two daughters is in his band that tours with Foo Fighters, Violet Grohl, who sings lead on a good part of the new Foo Fighters record, which I do love. So does it make me respect the guy less? For sure. But, it's just, I was happier when I didn't know everybody's personal shit. It was much better. We were all much better off when we didn't know everybody's personal things. I know there's a TikTok person, for you watching on TikTok, it's Riley. Is your favorite artist a horrible person? And, I watched that series. She's great. She makes great content. She's not a horrible person. She's a good person, probably, I'm thinking. But, I watch it with a mix of horror and amusement to see the commenters. A lot of judgy people out there. Judge slowly. I was always taught judge very slowly. All right, moving along. Here's the other one. This is another story I wish we didn't have to talk about, but here we are. Linkin Park broke the internet last week with the new singer Emily Armstrong. Half the fans of Linkin Park, half the world was divided about whether she was any good. She sucked. She's not good. A lot of people were like, this is wonderful, so amazing, so happy. Her small band, Dead Sarah, got a huge boost in streaming while people were trying to check out her music. And then within a few hours of the announcement of her as a singer and the new album and the new tour and the new everything, they found out that Emily is actually the child of two very high up people in the Church of Scientology. And she was a supporter of, unfortunately, Danny Masterson and his trial. I can't talk too much about the details here because we'll be, clapped down by YouTube, but she was a supporter of his. And then there was a clamor for, totally horrible. There was totally a clapback on her and a demand for her to make a statement. Now, the idea that the band hired her and didn't know all of this already is preposterous. Linkin Park is one of the most professionally run, top tier management in the world. Mike Shinoda personally is involved with this band. And people were trying to say, the reason some of the members aren't involved is because of her. It's absolutely not true. Listen, the people in Linkin Park don't need any money. They are rich forever. They are one of the most successful, popular bands of all time. They sold physical records at a time before streaming, when records still sold, and they had sold 20, 30, 40 million records, physical records. So don't worry about them in their pockets, okay? Brad Delson had said long before the reunion he never wanted to tour again. That's why he's not touring. That's the reason. He's still a member of Linkin Park. He wrote and produced the new record with Mike and Joe Hahn. I actually thought Joe Hahn was not going to participate because Joe was very close to Chester, and he wasn't going to do it. So then Emily puts out a statement, and the people have come forward and called her out. Fans, fellow bands, Cedric Bixler from At the Drive-In, who I just saw. He and his wife, I guess, was a victim of Danny, and They put out a statement excoriating her, really, really ripping into her. And a lot of people are, rightfully upset. Rightfully upset. And then she put out a statement which says, listen, she didn't talk about Scientology. And there's, again, if you ever known anyone that's been in a cult, and I have, they can't say too much because, Scientology is known as like a ruthless organization that will destroy people's lives. And I don't know if she has any other skeletons in her closet, but she said, listen, I thought this person was my friend. If you have a friend that's accused of a crime and you believe them when they tell you you're innocent, you support them with everything you have. Later on, before he was found guilty, she saw evidence, plus after his guilt was confirmed that he was guilty, and she just, has never talked to him again and has completely, eliminated him for her life. And she definitely is an ally and would never do anything to harm another person or support someone that harms other people. I thought she made a very good professional publicity statement about this, and I think the apology is good. Is it enough? Well, their tickets went on sale and they sold out in 5 minutes all over the world. Not a full tour, but these, handful of dates they're doing over the next 8 weeks. I think Linkin Park knew this was going to happen. I think they were prepared for they had to be prepared for a blowback anyway, because just certain people don't want anybody to replace Chester. She's decently talented. I think she did a nice job. The new song is good. Chester's son came out, who is, let's face it, the kid is unhinged. I'm sad that he lost his father. Chester had 6 kids. Chester's wife and Chester's son have both been very vocal about the meds that Chester was on maybe made him cause to take his life. I don't agree. I think psychotropic and antidepressants are good in general. For some people, they do have terrible side effects, but for most people, they help. Chester was a depressed person all his life. He had drug addiction problems. His best friend killed himself, Chris Cornell. Chester took his life 2 months later on Chris Cornell's birthday. It's very easy to see what happened. And Chester's son floating stories about aliens and conspiracy theories about him being killed is just shitty. I understand the kid is hurting, and I feel bad for him. But so he also was like, they shouldn't have picked her. Maybe they thought he should have picked him. He's been a singer also. So I don't know where we all land with this Emily Armstrong story with Linkin Park, but she's in Linkin Park. They're not kicking her out. Some people feel betrayed. And listen, Chester was an SA survivor, right? And he talked openly about a lot of their music is about him healing and dealing with that process. But they picked her. They didn't pick anyone else. They picked her. So, it is what it is for now. I'm not saying that I condone what she did in the past. Again, I can't say too much here on the channel, but it's in our website. It's in other stories we did. But, they're comfortable with her. We'll just leave it there. Moving along to better things. Metallica. We talk about Metallica all the time because they're always doing stuff. They are releasing a statue of the Ride the Lightning electric chair from the cover. This beautifully molded statue is about $33. It's limited editions on their website right now. Looks pretty cool. Metallica has got a week off to recharge the batteries after their 5 weeks of touring in America, and then they head to Mexico for a series of shows over a few weekends to wrap up the M72 tour. All right, appreciate everybody hanging out over on TikTok. It seems like it's picking up a little. All right, moving along. Also, As I Lay Dying announced a new record today. Wasn't a big surprise. We've interviewed Tim Lambesis not too long ago for Austrian Death Machine. We knew this was coming. New single, We Are the Dead, is out now, and their new album, Through Storms Ahead, is coming soon. November 15th via Napalm Records, their new label. People still mad at Tim. I guess I did all the controversial bands in a row, but if people are still mad at Tim, I'm not mad at Tim, but people are still mad at Tim. We interviewed Tim. If you want to check that out, I'll link it in the description. Also Power Flow, led by Billy Biohazard and Sendog, as well as some other great killer players, announced their new record. I'm pretty stoked for this because I love that band. Sort of rap metal in between the Biohazard reunion. And Dimas Beast is here. What's up, Gabe? Good to see you. Thanks for being here. Also, we were talking about Life of Agony a lot the last few weeks with a brand new single and their boat show, which was phenomenal. Their new single, The Crow, in memory of Brandon Lee, which is out now on streaming. The Pit platform in Europe, that's the video on demand, movie, metal videos, documentaries, concerts, is showing The Sound of Scars, their acclaimed documentary. It'll make you cry if you love the band. And if you don't love the band, you should check out the documentary anyway, because it's pretty rad. So yeah, definitely Sound of Scars on the Pit. Definitely worth checking out. It already. This band is Whitechapel. It's a kind of a funky avant-garde picture of them. Whitechapel's new single, A Visceral Wretch, is out today, and it is decidedly old school Whitechapel. Like Whitechapel, when they first came out, were not deathcore. They were straight up technical death metal, and they were really great. And they have a new drummer, Brandon Zakk, formerly of Enterprise Earth, and they are probably going to announce some new music for 2025, I think. It's a pretty killer track. I heard it earlier today. Also, Salad Days. This is pretty great. This is the 10-year anniversary of the Salad Days punk rock documentary, and they are doing special screenings with Q&As with the director coming up soon. I think it's going to hit video on demand. Hey, Gabe, good to see you. I'm still here. I hope you're good, man. So Salad Days is coming. Whitechapel's still around, probably what you're asking. Yes, that is correct. Drake Schmidt is here. Hi, Drake. Vandal Sanders. Van Root is here. So almost done here. This is also pretty cool. This is I saw this. This is a animated music video that features, it's Billy Morrison, right, the famous guitarist from The Cult. He has a recent album, the Morrison Project, on the label group and Virgin Records, and he put out a new song, Inside the Watch, featuring Billy, of course, Corey Taylor of Slipknot, and Steve Vai. Holy shit. And the video is kind of animated, which is fat. I thought it was really fresh and cool. Obviously, they put a little bit of money into this thing. There's not a bunch of guys just hanging out somewhere. But yeah, I had to look it up for a second. I have my notes. Oh, Whitechapel. Yeah, still around. Iron Maiden. Great Iron Maiden. We're getting a lot of new album announcements, and we're getting a lot of new, because we're heading toward like Record Store Day, Black Friday, and the holidays. We're getting a lot of vinyl announcements, like reissues and stuff late in the year. So Maiden is doing a reissue of Somewhere in Time and Power Slave. Power Slave is my favorite Iron Maiden record. You guys can see my Iron Maiden flag over my shoulder, especially if you're on the Tick of the Talk. And so they're doing this cool thing. It's called a Zoetrope vinyl. Zoetrope's an old school film projector that you make a cylinder and shine a light through it, and then it makes a picture go. Projector, Zoetrope. And the album, when you play the vinyl, the light hitting the vinyl makes a picture move to your eye. It's kind of fun. I always say that these things don't actually add anything to the sound, and I care more about listening to my record collection than having cool, funky things. I do love the swirly vinyl colors and stuff like that, but cool for Iron Maiden. If you don't have Power Slave, definitely go get this. If you do have it, you don't need it already. You don't need it twice. This is pretty cool. The University of Central London is doing a very cool confabulation, sort of not a convention, but sort of a seminar on black metal. This is co-hosted by the co-author of Black Metal Rainbows, the very popular black metal book that came out last year for underserved communities, especially your LGBTQIA plus communities. But this is pretty amazing. We might send somebody out to cover it. I have to ask the staff if somebody's around. Nope, we already took a shit on Motely Crue earlier, Gracie C. I appreciate you. We don't play music on this show because I'm trying not to get demonetized on my other channels, but I appreciate you. I do love some Motely Crue songs, but I wish they would kind of stop and go away now because they're just not good anymore. But if you're interested, we'll put the details of this in the notes. I thought this was a pretty cool thing. This happening at University of London, Central London. Check it out. Also, this is Kendrick Lamar. Why do we have Kendrick Lamar on here? Well, Kendrick Lamar is going to be the halftime artist at the Super Bowl. So once again, no rock or metal at the Super Bowl, despite I watched a bunch of NFL this weekend. My Giants already suck. I'm pretty heartbroken. Kendrick is going to do the halftime show. That means no rock. You couldn't get AC/DC. You couldn't, obviously Foo Fighters wouldn't get asked now after what's happened to Dave, but he would have been a guy. I would have picked them. I would have picked Sum 41, maybe would be big enough to maybe do the Super Bowl, maybe not. Offspring or somebody like that level. But I just don't, I have nothing against Kendrick. He's fine. He's a fine artist. He was part of the Dr. Dre Super Bowl, right? But I don't know if I care enough about Kendrick to have a whole 11, 12 minutes of music at the Super Bowl. It is the biggest thing in the world, but again, could have had some rock bands, but they won't. Metallica will never do it. That was my prediction. They will never do the Super Bowl. I really don't see it happening. It's not their jam. And another reissue that I'm very excited about is Corrosion of Conformity's Deliverance, arguably their best record, coming out on new vinyl from Music on Vinyl. Go check out musiconvinyl.com. They don't just have rock and metal, they have soundtracks, they have all kinds of stuff, and they are often a good source for high-quality 180-gram pressings of your vinyl. Once again, I have my other podcast beside this one, my vinyl podcast, the Glacial Musical Podcast, with the host Nick Cameron. Check that out. Learn how to take care of your vinyl, how to shop for it, what to do with it. Volbeat has put out a new blend of their whiskey, as well as some whiskey shot glasses and other things. Outlaw Gentleman Irish whiskey in 2 varieties. This is for sale mostly in Europe. I don't know if you can get it in the States yet, but hopefully eventually they'll bring it here. I'm a fan of Volbeat. How about you? Seanzilla77 is here. What's up, Seanzilla? Also, Bad Astronaut is a punk rock supergroup that has a new record coming out on Fat Records from Fat Mike's label. Members of Sugar Cult and Lagwagon, especially Joey Cape, big fan. Bad Astronaut new album. So I heard the first single. It's pretty fun. So good band. Why Spotify? Why are you showing me a Christmas music top classic songs mix with Mariah Carey's fucking face on it on September 12th? This got served to me today, and I fucking lost my mind for a minute. Cork Soaker's here. What's up, Cork Soaker? Good to see you. Hello. Why, Mariah Carey? Why? I don't want this. It's spooky season. Halloween only until November 1st. Then if you want to have Christmas everything, that's cool. I don't need this sooner. I really don't. I watch Nightmare Before Christmas, and I like some Die Hard, and I like some Christmas movies, Home Alone, and Christmas Story, but I don't need this, Spotify. Why? As it is, you don't pay anybody. Shit. Why would you do this to me? Holy fuck. And then I needed something funny to end this stressful week. So here's Richard Simmons' Venom. It's pretty fun. I'm pretty sure that's a Photoshop. Good to know. All right. Did we skip the New Music Friday? I might have skipped New Music Friday by accident. Yeah, I might have deleted it out. So instead of doing the mailbag, I'm going to just quickly run down the new music out this week. All the rock and metal. Sorry, I deleted the title card by accident. How about that? Big records you should be checking out this week include 156 Silence for some punchy hardcore. Agrippany, which is some great atmospheric black metal. Big Train for your progressive rock. Bones UK, really great rock band from the UK on Sumerian Records. Soft is their new album. Burial Oath on Morbid and Miserable Records. Caffeine, The Threshold on Lasting Dose Records. Claustrophobia, the re-release of their classic record Unleashed. That is a Brazilian thrash metal band, pretty great. Crowbot, Obsidian, we got an interview coming out with those guys probably later in the month. Crypt Crawler, The Immortal Realm, Cursive, the great post-metalcore, post-hardcore band Devourer, Dale Crover of the Melvins and his new solo album Glossolalia on Joyful Noise Records, Ben for some more killer black metal, Dear Mouse, Flotsam and Jetsam, the Thrash Masters are back with their new album I Am the Weapon, The Funeral Portrait, some middle and metalcore, Greetings from Suffocate City on Better Noise Music, Gwar Hello 36th Anniversary Edition. I have a previous version of that Hello album, so I'm not getting rid of that. Insurrection, Obsolescence, A Killer's Confession, that's Waylon Revis, who used to be in Mushroomhead, Victim 1, part of a trilogy of albums. We have an interview with him coming up eventually. Jesus Lizard, comeback record Rack on Ipecac Recordings, the label called by Mike Patton. Legions of Doom, stoner doom band featuring members of the Skull and formerly of COC, the Skull 3 on TP Records. They're playing in New York tonight. Oceans of Slumber, new album Where Gods Fear to Speak, great progressive metal band. Paganizer, Forest of Shub-Niggurath on Extreme Music for some black and death metal. Silent Theory, Tell Us How It Ends, cool band. Satan, the great Satan, new wave of British heavy metal band, Songs in Crimson on Metal Blade Records. Striper's new album, surprisingly great, When We Were Kings. Last two Striper albums have been actually absolutely killer, heavy metal, thrash metal style records. Tommy Stewart's Direwolf, Firewolf 1 EP. We love Tommy here. Torso, Brain Cells on AFP Records. Trelldom for some funky black metal by The Shadows on Prophecy Productions. Winterfire, another great UK black metal band. The Imperious Horizon on Candlelight Records. Wolf Brigade, Life, Knife, Death on Metal Blade Records. And Zetra, self-titled on Nuclear Blast. So many records coming out the next 8 to 10 weeks. It could hurt you physically. It's crazy. All right, now it's time for the mailbag, and I don't have a very significant and awesome thing for sharing this week, but I did want to have a little something. So my homie Rebecca, who I've talked about a bunch. Last week, if you watched the show, I was pet sitting for Rebecca, and she was away at a conference for work, and she came home and brought me some cool things from New Orleans, and one thing in particular kind of blew me away. And I'm just grateful in general. Here's a little picture of Bourbon Street. I've never been. This is the home of jazz, the birthplace of jazz in America. One of the few truly American art forms with no other influence from other places. Little other influence. So she brought me some coffee from Cafe Du Monde, the infamous coffee, if you want to have a cafe au lait. She brought me some cool stickers and New Orleans themed patch. That's cool. Maybe end up on the battle vest at some point. But this is really cool. Rebecca knows what a huge, complete, crazy nerd I am. So she got me this Lord of the Rings playing card deck. And I wanted to open this up and show this to you because it's so awesome. Lord of the Rings is blowing up. It's back in theaters. The trilogy is back in theaters. This box is gorgeous. Almost didn't want to open it. It's like foil stamped here on the box. If you can see it here on the tick of the top, I'll hold it up for the camera here. Try to get it without the glare. It's literally like beautifully foil stamped on the box. It is sealed, so I'm gonna have to break the seal to open this. But this is absolutely killer. It actually looks like the Lord of the Rings, almost the DVD packaging of the box set. I want to open this without like destroying it, hopefully. Yep, gonna have to go with the scissors. Otherwise it's gonna destroy it. Yeah. Okay, I got it. Thank you, Brooklyn Miss. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you. I don't know if you guys are Lord of the Rings fans. I read Lord of the Rings, all the Tolkien as a little kid, and it changed my whole life in Star Wars. And again, so James Earl Jones passing away hurts. So here's this Lord of the Rings playing card set. This is pretty crazy. The box even has the foil stamping. So the entire thing is printed and foil stamped all the way around, inside and out. It's a beautiful job, not just the outside. And then here's the playing cards. Yeah, this is insane. I'm pretty sure the Elvish inscription Sauron is there in the center of the card with a bunch of runes, and looks like a little bit of iconography from the movies. That's really cool. And then, so that's the front of the card, and then the inside of the card this is the Fellowship, and it has little caricatures of everybody. It's not going to be well seen here on the big camera, but this is pretty cool. Let's see that there. And then here's the Ace of Spades, pretty neat. That's the Joker card, is the illustration of the Fellowship. And then, yeah, and then just like a beautifully illustrated cards. Oh, here's a Jack. Here's the face cards. Let's go to the face cards. Jack. The Queen, who looks like the Elf Queen. Oh, lost one. Gladriel. It's pretty great. I don't know if you're watching Rings of Power. I need to catch up. I haven't been watching it lately. But yeah, this is gorgeous. I'm really grateful. This is a really fun gift. Like very specific to me gift. And of course, if you have a thoughtful friend out there like I do, you make sure they know how awesome they are. But that's our show. That's kind of what's going on. Next week I'll bring it back with some music memorabilia or something. We do have a couple of shows coming up in the next little while. So yeah. Yep. Thanks so much for everybody for tuning in. I appreciate you all for being here. It's a barely manageable hour and a half, but I'm thankful all the same. You could spend your time every week with anybody to get your rock and metal news, and you hung out with me. So I'm really thankful and appreciate you all. Thank you so much. This weekend is coming up. Like I said, it's a very hard time right now in the world for a lot of people. Check on your friends, check on your loved ones, check on your pets, check on yourself. If you're not okay, it's okay to not be okay. We'll be here for you. And with that out of the way, we say every week at this juncture of the show is enjoy Friday the 13th. Enjoy your spooky season. Watch some movies. Do something comfortable and good for yourself. Treat yourself well. As we say every week at this juncture of the show, it's a tough time in the world. So take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. And stay as metal as humanly possible. And I am going to pop on out. Peace.